So I'm here with Kelsey and Anja, the director and one of the stars of Glasshouse. Was such an amazing movie. I just watched it the other day. It was very tense, a lot of twists filled in, and it was so great. And I'm glad that I'm getting to talk to you guys about it.
Thank you. Really glad you loved it.
So my first question is for Kelsey. Where did this idea come from?
Okay. So what was interesting about this is naturally everyone sort of expects that it was inspired by COVID, but my amazing co-writer Emma Linguisois and I came up with the concept in February 2020. So we were getting rumors from China at that point, but we had absolutely no idea the impact the pandemic was going to have. And we pitched it as a concept with a number of other concepts to Showmax, hoping that they would be kind enough to support one that we could write in development. And then they came back and they greenlit 3 that we developed as a slate. But we were writing it over the first major South African lockdown. So I spent like 3 months alone on my balcony, zooming in with Emma and our wonderful producer, Greg, and our other writing partner on one of the other phones. And they became our lockdown family. So during the actual writing stage, it was sort of a meta experience because we were as isolated as the characters depicted in the script. But when we initially came up with the concept in February, it was very much more informed by the impact that Emma and I had experienced in our own lives, having loved ones impacted with memory issues. Emma has a close family member who is afflicted with dementia, and I have a close family member who deals with serious short-term memory loss. And for us, it was very close to home, not only the impact that memory has on informing identity, sense of self, etc., but also our engagement in the present. I think there's not a stereotype, but a narrative that, whatever you go through makes you stronger and tougher, and that if you go through trauma or if you cope with horrible things in your past, you come out of this like the stronger, better person. And I think the dirty secret of being an adult is learning that isn't true. And sometimes you experience things where you're like, you know what, the version of me that exists now has been so impacted by this trauma or this event that I don't necessarily think I'm engaging with the world from a better, stronger place. I think it's actually turned me into a different version of myself that isn't as good as the previous version before I had this experience. And so the story sort of came out of that conversation between Emma and I, and the idea and wanting to examine it from 2 very, very different perspectives. Anja's character, Evie, and Jess's character, B, because it's 2 sisters who handle trauma and the past in 2 very different ways in terms of coping mechanisms of survival.
That's exactly what I love. I love when you have the 2 central characters facing a same event, but in different paths. And speaking of Evie, Anja, how did you get approached for this role? How did this come about? Because I gotta tell you, you pulled off an amazing performance in this movie.
Thank you.
She's amazing.
Stop it. It was very sudden. Obviously I've got an agent that represents me in South Africa, and they just kind of like messaged and said, like, we've got like a really urgent audition for you. They are, they've been struggling to find their leads, and they really kind of have deadlines to hit. Can you do the self-tape by end of tomorrow? And I was like, this is a lot of scenes, and a lot of if you've seen the movie, these characters of there's just it's so layered and so emotional. So I just immediately canceled all work I had, and I was just like, okay, tomorrow morning, bright up early, characterization, sit and start shooting to finish in time. And they actually asked me to audition for both characters. I'm not too sure, there was definitely a thought process behind it, although I do think they had me in mind for Evie. They did want to see my take on both Evie and B, so I did tapes for both characters. And sent it through, and I'm not too sure how long after that, I can't remember, more probably a couple of weeks. I kind of got a call from them. Nothing was official yet. They were still waiting for approvals, but they were incredibly happy and had a chat with me, and they were very happy with my first, that kind of first rendition, if I may say, of a pitch that I made with the character. And I think from there it just kind of took off, and we made a movie.
And the backstory on that, Anja, was that you don't even understand how excited we were when we got those tapes, because you know, we and it's always so challenging casting. You know, there's so much talent, and you get tapes from so many people that are so brilliant, and we really did. We got phenomenal tapes from, like, I would say all the top actresses in the country. But it's sort of a matter of, you can get a top tape and be like, this is an exceptional performer, but they aren't necessarily the right person that encapsulate the character or channels the character in terms of getting across the nuance and the layers and the personality type that you needed and that we needed. And that's why we were asking some actresses that we were really interested in to read for both, because we wanted to see which character resonated most with them personally. And it was but also that was that casting exercise of wanting to be do justice to both characters equally and make sure we didn't miss something in terms of what someone could bring. And when we saw Anja's tapes for Evie, it was just like, there was no conversation after that. It was like, you were Evie. It was instant. And I was so excited about you because you were kind of on my radar, but I'd never seen what you could do. Yeah. And in those tapes, I was like, holy shit. And it was, she was, those tapes were exceptional.
The second she came on screen, I knew right there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a powerful character.
Yeah. She's
so great that you say that, because it was from the beginning, you know, so I try always not put my heart on anything when I do auditions. I try not get connected to the characters too fast, because you're probably not going to end up getting it. Yeah. But it was one of those jobs where I like had that, like read those scenes and read through that character for the first time, and it was like I was immediately connected to Evie. I immediately felt like a very strong connection to the character. And I remember telling, you know, like my boyfriend and my mom, I was like, I'm doing this audition and like, I know I shouldn't, but my heart is so in it, and I'm going to be so distraught if I hear nothing. So yeah, it was one of those that like I felt like Evie. Yeah. So I think it is.
Yeah, it was one of those charmed experiences where it's actually a gift when you get tapes like that, where it's like, there is no longer a decision. It's just so obvious. And we were waiting, like we would have said, you know, weeks before you got the final sign off, but we had to go through the proper channels. But everyone immediately saw and was like, obviously, yeah.
I like what they said. Like they know right away, like this is the person, but you know, they say the proper channels, like let's mess with them first. Let's tease them first.
No, it's horrible.
I know.
It's not fair to anyone, but at the same time, there's like, you know, we have exceptional execs, and it, you know, everyone needs to weigh in, and it's obviously a strategic thing because we had to make sure that all of our casting choices matched as a family. So that was also those chess pieces, which was one of the reasons we're also asking actors to read for both roles. So we were doing the chess game of making sure that we had the right personalities to craft this believable family, and we just couldn't have gotten more lucky with everyone.
You had an amazing stellar cast, and I got guys. I am a huge fan of Adrienne Pierce's. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I've seen her as far back as 1989. When she was in American Ninja 3, like when she had a
wow.
That's how far back I've watched her. Like we're talking way far. We're talking like the time machine. And then I saw her in Tremors of Cold Day in Hell. Then I saw her in Van der Merwe with Rob Van Buren and Raina Swart. I mean, she is such a legend over there. And I want to know from both of your viewpoints, what was it like working with her? Because she was very she scared the crap out of me at times as a mother, because I'm not this is probably one of the most like feared roles I had from her. Like, oh my God, if I had a mother like that, I'd forget it. I'm like, okay, I'll just listen.
Yeah. Kelsey, you want to go first?
Or I was gonna say you should go first. Yeah.
Okay. So funny enough, I got to work with Adrienne what year are we in? 2015. I got to work with her on my very first feature film that I did, and she played my mom. Funny enough, as well. But we didn't get to spend a lot of time together on set. We had like one scene together because the mom had committed suicide in the film, so it was like more like flashback scenes. So I was like, you can imagine my excitement when I found out she was going to play my mom again. I'm actually going to be able to like act with her. And just knowing how amazing she is, I was very excited to learn from her, and just like all her wisdom from like how long she's been in this industry. So it was amazing. I think Adrian and I really had like such a nice bond on set, and she's very wise. She's just got so many years of experience, and very kind, very strong, super strong woman. I don't think no one can mess with her. She's amazing. Very, very inspirational. And I enjoyed it so much getting to work with her. I hope I can get to work with her in the future again.
Yeah, no, Adrian's an absolute force. And I think I just have to do a little plug for her and do her proper justice in terms of her craftsmanship, because what I loved so much about working with her, it was really an honor and such a privilege directorially to be able to work with an actress who had all of these tools in her kit, is she's a theater actress. She came from the theater. So craft, physicality, voice control are all skills that she has and accesses very fluidly and very naturally. Whereas oftentimes if you come from a film background only and you haven't gone through a conservatory training program or have any experience in the theater, familiarity with vocal work or physicality or changing your body or stance or any of those are less familiar things to work with. And it ends up showing in performances in really subtle ways. And Adrian has all of that ability. So in terms of crafting the strength and the power that we needed from Mother, she was able to deliver because of that craft and deliver this tour de force performance. And you would never know. In real life, she is tiny. She's like shorter than me, and I'm like 100.
Oh, I think she's like
I'm 5'1"
as well.
Okay, we're both tiny, but she's tiny, and you
Yeah.
do not know, because she's such an exceptional performer, but using all of these tools that frankly are not always as common these days. And it's just just as a director, being able to work with someone who comes from that background with that sense of craft, that vocal training, that physicality training, in terms of her incredible instincts and talent as a performer, naturally raw talent she also brings, was just amazing. But she also knows, I mean, it's such a pleasure to be able to be so pragmatic and blunt in terms of a shorthand with notes. And we had that shorthand. I think we developed that with all of us really because of a rehearsal process, which is so also so valuable. But yeah, she's really sharp.
That is amazing. And I guess
sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, she also, because this was like the most physical type of film that I like, in terms of I wouldn't say stunt, but like, yeah, we did some stunts and then running, and like, we had some fight scenes and things going down, and she had so much like good input. You look at her and she's like, you said, like Kelsey said, she's a small, tiny, she looks frail, and then like the next moment she's there and she's like in it and she's ready to get down and dirty, and she's got all this amazing advice of how not to hurt yourself when you're doing certain types of stunts and things. And I was like absolutely blown away. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just because you may be small in real life, you can have a big presence, and she's just one of those actresses who does have a huge presence. That's like saying it like that's an understatement of the year. She is. Yeah, exactly. And I gotta say, kudos goes to the actor who plays Gabe. He did such a tremendous job with that role.
Amazing.
So my question is how did he must have prepared big time for that, to play a character with all that, and it must have been a joy working with him as well.
I mean, should we tell the truth, Anja? I think
you first.
Yeah. Brent Vermeulen, who plays Gabe, is an empath. He's one of the most exceptionally talented raw performers I've ever met. He feels things so deeply and accesses it so quickly that we were crying behind the monitor when he performed. Like, and everyone would be like stuck behind the monitor, riveted by him, to the degree that we were like, we wanted to give him more and more and more screen time, which was really difficult in a strong ensemble where everyone was so strong, and trying to divide, because like we wanted to give everyone more screen time, and trying to get that balance right was really challenging. But in terms of preparatory work, he did his own process, but it was again one of those situations where just to be frank, we were probably the most stressed about casting that part, because it's a really difficult part to encapsulate and do justice to, in a way that is fair and doesn't appropriate any real world condition unfairly, but really for us felt true in the world of what it would actually be like to be afflicted by this memory loss, and do the research of folks who in real world circumstances have similar challenges. But from his, again, it was similar to Anja's tape. From his first tape, he got it, and the rawness of it, and he just channeled. And I think I remember, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. I don't think he will. I could be wrong too. This was just my impression, but I think from our very first call talking about the character, I felt like he was getting emotional, just responding to being in the head of that space, and emotional in a beautiful way, like really responding to it. I think he teared up, but that's the depth of feeling that he has as a human being. He's the most gentle, caring, kind, present person. And yeah, watching him bring that alive with Gabe was exceptional, and also made some of the more challenging scenes possible. Because I mean, like the intimacy scene with you and him was like quite a thing. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think listen, he's also like a young guy, and obviously I'm a little bit older than him. I would not want to say that I have more experience or anything like that, but I could tell how genuinely, you know, like he did feel genuinely awkward in those moments having to shoot, and I also felt awkward, but I think it worked so well, and he's so good at taking whatever he's feeling and using it, and he took whatever raw emotion he was feeling, and it's like he's, like Kelsey said, he's so gentle, and like, so he's got such a pure energy and pure heart, but it's like he the whole spectrum of emotion that exists to human beings, like he understands it, and he's there, and he can access it like that, and whatever he's feeling, he can just channel into whatever he's doing. I mean, I just remember a couple of times even just, I think, forgetting to act when I was in a scene with him, because I would just be so taken by what he's giving you, and I'd always have to be like, oh, hello, I'm in the scene, I need to respond. But yeah, I mean, with our intimacy scenes, he handled it so well. Like, I honestly, like the level for such a young actor, the level of professionalism he has is incredible, and you can't help but be right there with him. He's so focused and so centered that it just focuses and centers you as well, and throws you right into that scene as if you're really in that world and nothing else exists. So I think needless to say, the awkwardness was real, but in the best possible way. I think ultimately, like, it just worked so well.
I do gotta say this: if anyone can make a director cry as they're watching the monitors, that performer should be worthy of an award, like a big award. Like, I'm talking a major film award. I don't care what it is; they are worthy of it. And if Brent did that to you, he deserves to have some sort of accolade for that performance. Actually, you know what? The whole cast does. Everyone does, because this movie was just mind-blowing.
Thank you. I mean, I loved them. I mean, it was hard work, and I mean, it's a huge credit to the cast. I mean, and that Glasshouse was hot, so it's like it's not like the conditions were easy, and it was intense. It was a very intense shoot, and everyone brought it. And it's not like, and also, I mean, Anja, I mean, we had so many days that were like where we're pushing so hard, because our shoot schedule was very condensed. We only had 4 weeks, so there was massive emotional dialogue scenes that we had so little time.
I had a couple of days where, like, I would have like a couple of different scenes in a row where it's just emotional scene by the end of that day, where I'd be so depleted, because, you know, like we just had to give it. We didn't have the time. It was that day or it wouldn't happen. So it was definitely a lot of pressure, but I think the pressure helped in the end. It really helped.
I think so too. No, I think it's definitely.
From someone watching the film, I totally agree with that.
I'm really glad you think so.
You mentioned shot in 4 weeks. Aside from the intensity, was there any other challenges that you faced on, like, maybe a technical viewpoint, or it was just
COVID?
Of course.
COVID. We were having heart attacks every day that when someone would get sick.
And also, just if I don't know if you remember this, Kels, but with Jess and her visas and stuff, she
Yes.
got like
Oh my
visa
gosh.
approved, like something like the day before like the visa offices in the UK closed.
Yes.
If anything was delayed because of COVID for like even a day, we wouldn't have been able to have Jess.
The whole movie
Anything
was
could
a
have happened
miracle.
on set
Yeah.
at any moment. If one person got sick, that whole shoot would have been shut down. We were all stressing like about that, like 24/7. We were like, what happens if someone gets sick? Do we just stay here until
it's
the
so
shoot
funny
again?
because Emma even hid it from me about how bad it was because she knew I would have a heart attack, but I was on a tech
We need
recce of the
to focus on
location.
things. Yeah.
And then I got this very calm, like dangerously calm call from Emma being like, Jess needs to get to the visa office in 2 hours. And we were like, what? And she's like, we need to get Jess to the visa office in 2 hours. And I was like, and she was like, they're closing. And I remember just calling Jess on her cell phone being like, Jess, how quick? And she just killed it. Like she hopped in a London cab, like on the spot, like raced there. And I think it's probably the last visa that was issued before the UK went into their lockdown, their like October lockdown.
Wow.
It was exceptional
Crazy.
that she managed to get on that plane. And yeah, I was sheltered from a fair bit of that stress. Thank you to my amazing production team and producers. But I did get to do that nice phone call to her being like, babe. And I mean, that's the thing. It was like everyone brought it for this film.
Wow, I gotta say that was stressing, but I'll tell you guys, it was totally worth it, hands down. And I think people definitely need to see this when it comes out. But before we talk about the release date, is there anything upcoming for you guys that you can talk about that you're working on? Any new projects on the horizon?
I mean, nothing much for me. Yeah,
That's
not
ridiculous.
really. Like, just some small local like a crime docu and what's the other thing, like a local Afrikaans series, because that's my mother tongue. Otherwise nothing massive on the horizon yet,
Which I'm shocked by and know will be changing very soon. Yeah. I'm a big part of Glasshouse. The importance of this film for us is to showcase the exceptional talent that we have in South Africa, but also the mutability. Like it was really important to us to show to have Glasshouse be unplaceable. Like I don't think anyone would know it was shot in South Africa unless they were told. I mean, what do you think? From like, would you have known?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I wouldn't have been able to tell either. But knowing the cast, and plus, I'm a huge South African film fan, so it's just like I knew. But and that's
You're
what
an
got me
expert.
hooked about it. So I was like, all right, I gotta watch this movie now. But yeah, you wouldn't have guessed that the film was shot in South Africa. But.
Yeah, and the dialect work. I mean, across the board, they cast did such an exceptional work with dialect because we specifically chose a vanilla English that's not placeable. And Jess actually lost her British accent to do the vanilla English.
Oh, wow.
So everyone was doing this. It's a certain like sort of very neutral English accent that's unplaceable, that everyone just fell into for this project and did a great job on. And we really want to showcase to the international film community that, you know, South African talent can work across the board and be cast outside of South Africa and you know, has this chameleon quality. And like, there's no reason. I mean, if you look at how, just to be blunt, if you look at how like Australians and Brits have taken over Hollywood, South Africa's next. You know, it's already started to happen.
You got Charlize Theron. You got Charlize Theron already. You got new ones coming in. I can name some right now. Cameron Scott.
Chisom Batu from Underground Railway. Like it's around. It's all happening, and we are. I would feel as a director just incredibly. You want to feel like you contribute in some way to the world, and we're not heart surgeons, so it's like you're just making movies. Like you want people to feel and take away from an experience something that's provocative, that inspires thought, and that's how you feel like you're making a contribution to the world. But when on top of that you can give talent a platform to show what they can do and up level their careers and be able to reach more people or have more opportunities, that's sort of a more concrete thing of being like, okay, I've actually contributed or done something. And all of this cast deserves that, you know. And we're very excited for the North American release for that reason, because that's when it's like the manager should start calling now. They just should.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, obviously I'm a bit biased, but I mean, this
No, it's
cast
okay.
is
It's
exceptional.
okay. I'll tell you why, because as like you're saying, you made the film and you're getting it out there because you want this, you know, everyone to notice the South African film industry. I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm watching all these South African films now, and I'm purposely putting these reviews up because
We love you.
I want people to see that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the actors are phenomenal. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone does a wonderful job. And I've talked to other South African actors, and I've become friends with some of them, and they are such wonderful people, and they love sharing their experiences with, you know, everything they've done, and just like you guys did. And I'm really thrilled that we got to talk about Glasshouse, and
It's all about that collaboration.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in terms of other things, I'm in post on an action sci-fi film that I'm very proud of, for a script that I wrote 9 years ago that I finally managed to get financed with Greg Buckle, producer of Glasshouse as well. He's been amazing and on this journey with me on this film. We spent years trying to finance and package it, and we're very, very proud that it's now in post-production. It's going to be done by the end of the year. So that's a film called The Fix. So that's what I've been busy with. It's why we haven't gone off to coffee yet, Anja. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I know you're like incredibly busy. Like
I have no life.
Kelsey's schedule is just insane.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
everyone's
props to this woman. You're a beast, babe. You are a beast.
And I will tell you, I will tell you, I have it. You probably know this person. I have a dear friend named Raina Swart, and she actually told me you're the bomb, and you just.
Oh, she's the best.
Yes.
Oh, I love her. She's wonderful. I think the last time we saw each other, we were playing volleyball in Venice Beach or something like that.
But yeah, we get in contact with each other like a lot. So it's
amazing. No, she's such a lovely human.
So Glasshouse will be coming out in the coming weeks in North America. You all got to see this movie. I'm serious. Everyone's got to see this. The cast is phenomenal. The story is amazing, and they're gonna have a great time watching this. And Kelsey and Anja, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about the movie.
Thank
you guys
for having us.
Because they're 6 hours ahead of where I am, so we're all good there. So you know, it's like 9:30 a.m. here in the States, and it's just like I'm just starting my day out.
Half past 3 here.
Yeah, 3:30.
Yeah, so thank you again, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you. No, thanks so much for the support and punting the film. Very grateful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys take care. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.